I need you to stop everything and watch this video before social media completely ruins your chances of ever having a successful online business. If you're relying on social media right now to try to get leads, get clients, go viral, or simply grow your engagement and online presence, then I need you to stop, because honestly, you're probably just wasting time. That's everything that I was doing that was not working for me, that ended up leading me to complete burnout, spending 4 to 5 hours a day on Instagram, literally every day, at the expense of my kids, at the expense of my sanity, and at the detriment of my bank account, which was still at zero. I ended up exchanging all of that for this one awesome long form method that completely changed everything. And I was able to go from 0 to 6 figures in just my very first year of that new method of growth. So let's get into it. So today I'm going to be going through why social media is ruining your chances of having an online successful business. I'm going to talk to you about why social media is a trap and all of the reasons that it's actually harming you and your success rate, and potentially you creating an income that could be viable and fruitful for you. And then I'm going to talk to you about the number one thing that I did to completely eliminate the need for social media to grow my personal business, and how I was able to go from 5 hours a day on Instagram to 2 hours a week using this other method. So stay with me. It's going to be amazing. Let's start with the conversation about social media being a trap. I'm going to be drawing you guys some stuff today. I want you to imagine a trap. Okay, what is a trap? It has 4 walls and it's going to really keep you stuck. And this trap tells you something that you believe to be true. So when you enter said trap and do these particular things, you get X result. So what do we believe to be true? Well, number one is we believe that if we post endlessly in our content, if we spend all hours of the day liking and engaging with people in the DMs and underneath comments, that all of a sudden we are going to have this explosion of growth and we're going to go viral. Yay! And what we believe to be true is that when we finally go viral and have all of this amazing engagement on these short form videos, we're going to get the result of money and of leads. That's what we believe to be true. But because it's a trap, all of this is actually a complete facade. Let me share with you why I know that this is true. I've been an entrepreneur for 16 years, okay? The first decade of being an entrepreneur, first I grew a network marketing company, and then I was trying to grow a coaching business primarily on Instagram. So here's what was actually happening. I was spending 4 to 5 hours a day, not a week, but a day, growing Instagram. Okay, growing IG. What did this actually mean? It meant capitalizing on my kids, creating every second that I could of footage for content, for stories, going into people's DMs, liking, commenting, starting conversations. It was a relentless rat race. And what it resulted in was 20 to 25 hours of what I believed was a activity that was going to grow my company, which at that time was making basically $0, a few hundred per month, if that. But what was actually happening is that this was not a activity. No, my friend, not a activity at all, but it was actually time wasted. And this is the number one reason that social media is ruining your chances of making money from home. It's literally stealing all your time. And because it's perpetuating the dopamine hit in your brain, the addictive tendency to stay on that platform is causing you to even waste more time, be more distracted, and shorten the active memory inside of your mind. I have an entire YouTube video on how to increase your focus and those specific things we need to do to increase our brain retention. And you can find that video linked in this video up here and down below. But in essence, you entered the trap. You wasted all of your time. After years, I'm talking 2 to 3 years of this, I had painstakingly grown my Instagram, but the reality was it was not getting me any more clients. It was not getting me leads. And all it was doing was showing me this fancy number that didn't mean anything. I was tired. I was burnt out. My discernment alarms were going off, and I was praying to the Lord, please help me find a different way to grow. And my prayers were finally answered. In October of 2018, I had a prophetic dream, and I heard and saw, start a podcast. Podcast? I didn't podcast. I didn't know what it would be about. I had no clue how it worked, but because I knew that it was a word from the Lord, I started my podcast. That podcast took me from 20 to 25 hours a week with basically $0 and 0 viable leads, but some feel-good metrics, down to, here's what's crazy, 2 hours a week and my first 100K in 12 months. That's so crazy, right? So I'm going to talk to you about why podcasting worked way better than social media, but let's quickly go through why social media is completely ruining your chances at a successful business. I'll run through these quickly, and then we're going to get to how to transfer all your time, energy, and effort from social media into one easy long form, which is podcasting, in literally 2 hours or less per week. Okay, the first reason that social media is completely hurting your chances at success is you're wasting endless hours with really, really low ROI. What is ROI? It's return on investment. The time you're spending on social media is rarely translating into actual leads or clients, right? I know that my 5 hours a day was not equaling X amount of dollars per day. And I want to know that if I'm spending all this time and energy, I'm going to have income at the end of it. So the reality is that you're chasing views and likes, but those things do not equal conversion. The second reason that social media is killing your chances at a successful business is that it's got a short shelf life. You work super hard. You get ready for 30 minutes, put on your makeup, you're feeling good. You edit your reel for whatever that takes, 30 more minutes. You post it on social, finally, yay. And then guess what happens? It only lives for 24 hours and less than 1% of your followers ever see your content. This means you are headed to the algorithm graveyard. RIP. We don't want to go there. We don't like graveyards. So you're creating content that dies. Not it. The third thing is algorithm dependency. So when you fully commit to social media as your method of growth, basically, your method of growth, you're depending on some random algorithm to decide to show your content or not. And I want to create content that I can control. The next thing is audience fatigue. So because everyone on social media endlessly scrolling is getting that constant dopamine hit, your audience is going to quickly tire from watching you. So we've got to get away from the belief that video content is the thing that's going to grow or make us money. It's not. For me and for thousands of my students, it's audio content. Why? Because when we remove this visual stimulation dopamine addiction device from our faces, we can actually be free and clear to fully listen and be present with the content we're engaging with. And how do we do that? It's audio consumption, okay? We don't want to sell to an audience who's already in this fatigued mindset because they're staring at a phone, right? They're staring at a screen. A podcast allows you to capture attention for 10, 15, 20, even 30 minutes versus 15 seconds or less when you use social media. I know that it's possible because it's been possible for me. I ended up, friends, completely getting a segue for a second. I completely got off of Instagram for, first it was a 30-day trial, and then it was 2 years. I mean, not one post, nothing. Because I wanted to prove that podcasting could work to grow my business. Not only did it work, but it ended up becoming a 6-figure company in 12 months, and then a multi-6-figure, $500,000, 7-figure per year company, all from the podcast. And I didn't touch social media again until I had a team that would just repurpose. And then until we stepped into the paid advertising game, which is a whole different conversation. Don't do that while you're new. When you are new, you've got to focus on long form. It's going to be the thing that captivates your audience, but we'll get to it in a minute. There's a big but here, a big but in the room. I'm going to circle back. Don't let me forget the big but. I'll jot it down so I don't forget, because we got to talk about that. Okay, so the other thing that social media, why it doesn't work, is oversaturation. I want you to imagine that you're in this stadium of 20,000 people, okay? You got 20,000 people in here. Boop, 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 boop. And here's you, bing. Here you are. Hi, it's me. And you're in there going, hey, I have an amazing business where I help whatever. I help busy corporate women meal prep, or I help couples restore their marriages after infidelity, or I help people declutter their closet. Whatever the thing is that you do, you come into the stadium and you're screaming at the top of your lungs, hey, look what I have to sell. Look what I'm marketing. But the problem, friend, is that everyone else is yelling at the same time. It's completely oversaturated. No one in this stadium, this social media stadium, is actually in the posture of learning. They're all in the posture of screaming. So if you want to position yourself as an authority to sell and market your product, why wouldn't you just leave the stadium and head to a smaller stadium where everybody is nicely seated and they're ready and excited to hear the speaker share what they have to offer, and then everybody's in a posture of receiving, right? Holy smokes, talk about being able to get your message across in a much clearer, more peaceful manner. That's 100% what I'm here for. So oversaturation, not it. Here's the other piece, is limited credibility, right? Social media doesn't allow you to create this platform of authority necessarily. It's all this competition of who can get the most likes. And really, that's all based on algorithm, trends, and pay to play. So again, like, I'm going to remove myself from the stadium in which I'm not going to be heard, and I'm just going to go and position myself in a stadium of people who are actively here with that ticket in their hand. Like, hi, Steph, I want to learn about podcasting and making money podcasting. Come into that stadium, and I have a position of authority to speak from a stage, so to speak, and hold captive an audience for a long period of time. Where else are you able to hold attention anymore for over literally 15 seconds? It's nowhere on video. Nowhere, not even this long form YouTube, because most of you have left. If you're still here, bless you. Thank you for hanging out with me, because I know it's really stinking hard to focus when you're watching video. So now I want to talk to you about why podcasting, and then how to actually transition to that place. Listen, podcasting, I'm going to do my best to draw a podcast mic, and this might be epic. Kind of. It could also be an ice cream cone with sprinkles. Popsicle with sprinkles. Anyway, when you transition to podcasting, you're spending 2 hours, okay? 2 hours a week. That's what I teach my students to do. Why? Well, I'm going to give you 30 minutes to plan your episode. I'm going to give you 30 minutes to record. I'm going to give you 30 minutes to edit. And I'm going to give you 30 minutes to market. And this is optional, okay? You don't have to market it. The podcast literally can go out and do the work for you. It can generate the leads for you, as long as you know how to do that. Okay, which I've got you. So basically, you trade all these hours and content that you're creating anyway, but you're putting it on a video platform and it's non-converting, and you're shrinking your amount of time that you're spending to do one long form per week. If you can also do 2 if you'd like, okay? But let's say you just do 1 a week, and you're going to have this podcast in the world. Well, here's what happens. Your podcast gets shared literally across the world. It goes to this country, 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 and it goes to this country. And what happens is all these people in this country that are searching for your particular search term in your particular niche. Let's say that you do decluttering. Okay, and they look up decluttering my home, organization tips, how to get organized, purge my closet, capsule wardrobe, all these amazing keywords that I'll help you figure out. They find your show. When they find your show and they listen to it, your podcasting algorithm goes up and you start to get featured in the new and noteworthy, higher up in your category. This is literally without marketing at all. Okay. Now I want you to imagine that happens in country 2, happens in country 3, happens in country 4, happens in country 5. Guys, this is all with 2 hours of your time. Because then what happens? This person, remember the stadium, this person is already in the posture of buying. They're in the stadium, seated. Hi, I'd like to learn to declutter now. Thank you. Because you've positioned yourself as an expert with your podcast and they've listened to you for multiple hours. People tell me all the time, we binge your podcast. I binge your podcast, okay? They now believe in you, so you've created trust. And when you have created trust, you create a what? Conversion. What does that mean? That means a buyer. So how the heck do you get more clients? You start a podcast, you put it out consistently using keywords. It gets found by the right person because you know who your avatar is in your particular niche, and they come and they buy from you. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Talking about scalability and simplicity. Let me address the big but, and then I'm going to tell you 2 key things I want you to do right now, okay? The big but is that podcasting, why does nobody choose podcasting? Why does everyone choose social media as the thing that they think will grow their business? It's because podcasting doesn't feel good. So the big but in the room is that it doesn't feel good. But what happens if we do all the things that feel good? Feel. We often get led astray, right? It's not about growing a business on feelings, on dopamine hits, on serotonin, and on chasing things that make us feel validated. No. God's word says we are to love our neighbors, to do good works for the kingdom. If God was the first entrepreneur, what did God actually do? He created. And then what did he do second? He hovered over his creation. I'm going to go into the world. I'm going to bless people with content that helps them get out of the rat race, get niched in, work from home, actually make real income in less time and simplify, feel consistent, solid in their sales and marketing. I believe it's podcasting because I can use my voice to encourage, inspire, and teach. I'm going to create. Now, what happens? It may not feel good. Guys, there's been many months, even a span of a year, where my podcast didn't grow. It was completely stagnant. But my revenue has grown year over year over year over year. In the past 6 years, I went from a couple $100s a month, like I've said to you, to over a 7-figure annual gross revenue company. And that is through me removing the feel good. I'm focused on the giving, the serving, and the teaching aspect. Obviously, there's strategy in there, which is why I teach it. We've got to call the podcast something specific. We need it to look a certain way. We have to understand keywords and messaging, marketing, positioning. We have to have an offer that's highly desired. Okay. I have a boot camp that can help you figure all that out. StephanieGass.com/bootcamp. Go check that out. Under $20. We'll teach you all the things you need to know about the how of podcasting to make it profitable. Okay. But you're going to relentlessly commit to the message and the gifting and the purpose that God has on your heart. You're going to open your mouth and he shall fill it. And guess what will happen? Those good works will not return void. People will trust you, believe you, connect with you, and ultimately want to work with you. Imagine people coming to your inbox from your podcast and saying, I found you on this podcast. It changed my life. How do I work with you? So, number 1, get into prayer with the Lord and ask him what you should do about your social media usage. Get in prayer, create some boundaries, and even, balloons, and even feel free to completely get off of social media. I did, and it was the best thing I ever could have done for myself, for my family, for my relationship with the Lord. I needed to remove the trap of living in the social media bubble 24/7 in order to see clearly. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to just dream about what your podcast would be about. Drop in the comments for me below, what is your business? What is your niche? What do you do? And how could this become a targeted podcast that could help you grow your business? I want to hear from you. And then number 3, what else do you want me to teach you here on this YouTube channel? I've been having fun with this thing. This is definitely not my bread and butter. I'm just learning, exploring, and testing. So check out some of my other videos and let me know what's your favorite, what has helped you the most, what do you want to see more of? Please leave it in the comments so that I know what to create for you. And the last thing, come and sign up for my bootcamp. It's stephaniegass.com/bootcamp. It's a 5-day experience teaching you exactly how to create a profitable podcast and really let go of all the other stuff. Stop overcomplicating business. It can be easy, fun, peaceful, and simple. Thanks for being here with me today. I can't wait to see you again next week. Bye.